don't have seeds, and these are desert grapes, and you cannot make wine from them because the seeds inside are playing the important and the main role to make the wine. So the first alcohol, the wine, was found in Egypt, but which was made of apple, not with a grape. But the first
Cider.
grape winemaking starts from this country, which was spread to Anatolia and then to Europe, of course. So in Europe, it's famous that when wine is made with Europe technologies, and in this country, in Georgia, the wine is made with Europe and with Georgian technologies. So what's the difference? I will explain it all together. First of all, making wine in Georgia is not a business like in some of the countries. It's a culture. This is the first difference. The second, all the process of the grape cultivation, grape harvest, goes with hands. We are not using any machines. Because in Georgia it is believed that if you are on good mood and you start harvest of your grape, the taste of your wine will be also good. If the weather is cloudy, if it's raining, and if you are angry with something, if you don't wake up on good mood, we delay the grape harvest and we do it next morning or next week. Otherwise the wine will be sour. This is the culture and this is the belief. Some people don't have their own farms and they have to buy. But they always try to buy grapes from the seller who is smiling, because the taste of the wine from this grape will be also good and nice. If the seller is rude and rough, the taste of the wine will be rude and will be sour, of course. Sometimes I'm asked the question if the wine can be made from unripe grape. No, the grape must be a sweet, because when we press the grape and we collect the fresh juice, and this juice needs something, the process, to become alcohol. Otherwise this will be the juice. And this chemical process name is a fermentation. When the juice of grape converts into alcohol. For the fermentation is required the bacteria which will start eating the sugar, natural sugar of the sweet of juice of grape, which is glucosa. It will start eating the glucosa from the juice of grape and it converts it into alcohol. So it means as sweet is grape, as more alcohol will be. So if the grape is sour, the percentage of glucose inside will be less, the bacteria will eat less sugar, and the percentage of alcohol will be light. But if it's too much sweet, the bacteria will eat more sugar and it will convert into more alcohol. That's why as sweet is grape, as strong is wine. But where this grape is getting sweet from? And mostly the 40% it depends from the soil, 60% depends on the weather and the sun. In the east region, Kakheti, where we're driving today, mostly it's a flat area and the people are using vineyard styles of the grape, and there is sunny. As usual, east part of the world is always sun because sun is coming from the east. That's why in Kakheti, because of being a warm climate and because of being a rich soil, 90% of varieties of the grape that grow in Georgia are coming from this region. And of course, the grapes are becoming sweet earlier in Kakheti than in other parts. For example, Kakheti is 1 month ahead than my town. And Kakheti grape harvest starts at the end of August, and me and my father, we harvested in the middle of October, 15th of October, almost 2 months later. Because in September and in August, my grapes are sour. But in Kakheti, it's becoming sweet in early September, the end of the August. And the one more difference between European technologies and Georgian, as I mentioned, we do everything with the hands. Sometimes I'm asked the question, today it is the 21st century and you cannot spend so much energy anymore. You can use the machines and tractors which are harvesting the grapes. We don't do that because, one more time I repeat, harvesting grape in Georgia is a culture. We don't do that for the business. Well, what I mean, the business is just to harvest and then to sell and realize. But the culture is when you enjoy with doing that. Because when we harvest our grapes, Georgians are singing polyphonic songs to increase the good mood, to be on or to be on good mood. So if we replace this process with the tractors and with machines, we will lose our polyphonic songs and no one will sing song anymore. Second, in traditional method, Georgians are pressing grape with the feet. We put on the boots and we press with our feet, and also singing polyphonic songs to give the juice of grape good mood. And the European style, they are using press machines. Third difference, the main difference making wine is fermentation process. Europeans are using yeast for fermentation process, and they press the grape, they collect the fresh juice, and with the help of the yeast they make wine. But Georgians are not using yeast. We press the grape, collect the fresh juice, and the leftover, which is left from the grape, we put back again in the juice. Because the bacteria which Europeans find in yeast, the natural biological bacteria, we find on the skin of grape, stem of the grape, and that's why we put both of them inside back. And the fermentation process goes on naturally without addition of the yeast. Another difference, the vessel where we keep the wine. The Europeans are using stainless steels.
Barrel.
They keep the juice of grape, they use the yeast, then they also with the stainless steel set the buttons anytime they can change the temperature where they want. But we don't do that. In Georgia we have such a unique achievement of human clay vessels, which is named kvevri. When we reach in Kvareli wine factory, I will show you how it looks like. It's a clay pot. It's named kvevri, which is made only with hand. It's only handmade. We don't have a factory that can produce. And in whole country today are alive only 11 people who are making them. And also clay pot masters are not using any tools. They do only high calculation in with the hands. If you order from the same person to make two similar clay pots, it will be different, both of them, because he's using only eyesight and eye calculation. Little bit different will be. And these clay pots and vessels are made from one of the unusual and rare quality of the clay. Starts from the bottom, ends at the end. Usually making clay pot takes from 3 weeks to 2 months. It depends on the size. And to make these clay vessels, we don't do half by half. Like sometimes people ask me if we do half, then again in half and put together. No, we start from the beginning and finish at the end. Of course, also it's not allowed to start and make it in one day, because we do building of the clay vessels 10 centimeters per day. We put the clay round 10 centimeters, hold for 1 day, because it takes time to get dry. Next morning, another 10 centimeters, next morning, another 10 centimeters. But if the weather is rainy, we wait for the good. If, for example, if there is a rain for 3-4 days, we stop and we can wait for the good weather, because it must not be a humidity to let the clay get dry. After we finish to build up the clay vessels, we bring them in an oven for burning. In an oven is not use the gas or the electricity, only wood fire. And the burning process continues at least 1 week. And within this 1 week, the temperature inside the oven reaches 1300 degrees Celsius. And the two varieties of woods are used for that. Beech, that I showed you yesterday, and aspen. Aspen wood is the best choice, which can keep the temperature longer, because it's burning slowly and can keep and last the heat longer. And beech is the wood which can increase the maximum temperature. But both combination If you are using both, you can increase the temperature maximum and last it longer. That's why for burning in the oven, the clay vessels that are used mostly woods, which are aspen and the beech. Well, after the burning process, we don't bring clay vessels out at the same time, and we don't shut the temperature. We just reduce. It's not allowed to shut the temperature at the same, because the clay vessel might be broken. You have to start cooling down a little bit, then it completely shut. After we bring the clay pots, then we put them in the ground. Some people are buying them and bring in their wineries, in their wine cellars, but it depends where they put it. First, you have to explore the ground before you put it. If in the ground is a source of the water, then we have to change the location because the water can lift the clay pots. If we put the clay vessels in our wine cellar, we put directly. But if we put them in the garden, we put outside the cement for the clay pot, because outside the trees are growing and the roots of the trees can impact the clay pot and can break. That's why if we put our clay pots in the garden or in outside area near the trees, we put the cement as a cover from outside. We stick them in the ground until the neck. Then we pour the juice of grape inside. Then the leftover, which is left from the grape, skin and stem, we put back, and stirring with the stick about 1 week, 4 days per day, 4 times per day, 4 times per day. This is the first stage of fermentation process, and during this fermentation process, the skin and stem is floating and the bubbles, because bacteria starts eating glucose and converts it into alcohol. As soon as the fermentation process finish, it gives the signal. How do we understand? The skin and leftovers start sinking and juice is coming up. Then we put the cover. The cover is the hermetic cover, no air or no oxygen inside, no bacteria, nothing, otherwise the wine will be spoiled. Then we put the cover and we hold the skin inside the juice of grape from 3 months to 6 months. For the white grape, we are using 6 months. For the red grape, 2 or 3 months. Because if you hold the red grape inside longer, it will be so spicy and something strong, sour. Because the red grape have different varieties of the bacteria. This is how the fermentation process goes on. After 6 months or 4 months, we open the clay pot, we remove the skin, and only wine is left in the clay pot. But the skin we don't throw. We put in another pot in distillation and make strong alcohol from that, which is named vodka. In Georgia we call that chacha. You have noticed or spotted some of the places in markets in old capital, chacha. Chacha is what type of vodka. The vodka is strong alcohol. Be advised that percentage of alcohol in wine is from 11 till 14. This is the average. But from vodka starts from 45% of alcohol. Goes up to 70, 60. It depends on if it's handmade. Factory-made vodkas are always 40 and 45 degrees. But homemade vodkas can be up to 60 and 70 degrees. Distillation process. Vodka you can make from quince, watermelon, pomegranate, apricot, peach, anything. But we are making mostly from this leftover from the grape. The leftover in Georgian is named chacha. And of course, if I go to the supermarket and ask for chacha, they will not give me leftover of the grape. In supermarket language, chacha means vodka made of chacha. Well, and there are some advantages of Georgian make wine.